Okay, so I figured I'd better come out here and film this. It's 4th of July weekend. Look what happened to our compost barrel that I built. Guess the wood finally dry rotted. That sucker finally fell down. So here I am. There's my sign, Rochester Garden. So here we are. Another year has gone by. Actually, it's only been a year. And I'm going to do an update on our backyard garden. I finally got my oriental lilies are finally opening up. We've had those for a year and they came back. I didn't know they'd come back, but they do. We got some collard greens and some cabbages, y'all. I think that's what these are. No, broccoli. So we have broccoli, cabbages, and collard greens, which is what we're going to plant. I'm just going to give a quick update on our backyard garden. So here we are. This is our flower bed that has to be tended to, but I went to Home Depot because that is my favorite place of all time and got some more flowers, to draw in more pollinators. There we go, and that over there, and then that over there in the bed. I haven't planted them in the ground yet, and then we got some right there. I haven't planted them in the ground yet, but I'm just getting them acclimated to the garden back here. I always wait a couple of days before I plant something in the ground that I bring from someplace else, just to make sure it doesn't have any insects or any diseases or anything. And if there is, I can take care of it before I stick it in the ground, and to ensure we have a good harvest. Now, once again, this is just for documentary entertainment purposes. I'm not in no way, shape, or form am I a professional gardener. Actually, I've only been gardening for a year. So everything that we got going on back here is doing pretty good. So this is our blueberry bush that I pruned. I don't know if you guys remember that. I pruned it and it's coming back. This tree, this is the lemon tree that we had from the very first day. And it's finally doing something. It's been a year now, and it's finally got new sprouts on there. See there, y'all? I'm excited about that because these leaves that were on this tree has been on this tree for a year. It has not done anything at all. Nothing. This one here is the Meyer lemon tree, and it's actually doing a whole lot better than this lemon tree. And the only thing different I did was actually I bought it already in the pot from Home Depot because they've already had it in there. It's a snowbird citrus, I guess is what it's called. And when I got it here, I knocked off all the buds that were flowering, knocked everything off, kept a few leaves on, but I knocked everything off, and here it is. It's coming back. So I should have done that to this lemon tree, but I didn't. So lesson learned, so I guess here, when I knocked off all the buds, I'm just speculating that it gave the tree a chance to concentrate on its roots instead of trying to produce flowers. This is our grape tree, which is our grape bush vine. Doesn't look so good right now. It's got a lot of new growth on there, but I think the rain I don't know. First of all, I think the drought hit it pretty hard. This is our muscadine vine, which is doing really good. And they're kind of intertwining with the grape. I intended that to happen. We have our sweet potato bin. This is our Mississippi red sweet potatoes. They're starting to turn. The vines are starting to turn. I know they're in no way, shape, or form are they ready to be picked. There's like a big consensus. There's some people say you pick them after so many days. Some people say you pick them after they flower. Some people say you pick them after the vines turn. I'm going to wait until the vines actually start dying on these potatoes before I start picking them. This is one of our flowers I got yesterday from a friend of ours at Home Depot. Thank you very much. And then here we have a Beauregard that's coming out. I'm excited about the Beauregards because those have good meat. The potatoes are really good. Our banana tree that was sitting out front is now in the back, and now it's growing again. So I kind of give, oh man, it's starting to rain. Man, I thought I can do this before the rain came. This is the corn. I don't know if you remember the bed that I planted, but that's the corn in the new bed. And I'm going to do another bed. I might either extend this out further here or put another bed somewhere. I'm going to put up another bed so I can plant those collards and broccoli and stuff. This is the corn that we just harvested. Up, 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 up. Look how tall it is. It's got to be at least 9 feet tall. But we harvested the corn off of there, dried out a couple of the stalks, let them dry out on the stalk, and there we go. This is my favorite plant, my favorite pepper plant. That is the hot burrito peppers that we bought. Everything we got here, except for a couple of things like these pole beans, we started from seeds, but we got the seeds from Home Depot. So it's obvious, you guys, I'm a big fan of Home Depot. And I am no way, shape, or form am I sponsored by them, but it's the closest store that I live to, and it just so happens that they really do have good products. I'm a big fan of Bonnie plants. I'm in no way, shape, or form sponsored by them, but their plants are actually non-GMO, which is why I like them. If you can know how to take care of them, and then use their seeds. So what we do is we'll buy the Bonnie plants because we know they're good plants. We'll grow them, and then the fruit, like off the peppers and stuff, we'll take a good pepper, one of the best peppers, and we'll dry them out, and then use the seeds, and we'll use it for the next planting for next year. So right now, oh no. And this is our beefsteak tomato plant that just seemed to have come off of its stake, but I might have to fix that. That's our heat tolerant tomatoes. Now these things, guys, is as high. These tomato plants right now are as high as my waist right now, a little bit higher. I caged this zucchini plant because, well, as you can see, it's already got the powdery white mildew on it, and I started cutting the leaves off of it to get some airflow, but then I started discovering that there were pests getting inside of the branches there. So I just kind of left it alone. I caged it and left it alone. It seems to be doing good. So we're looking in there. We got some zucchini growing. My wife's extremely excited about the zucchini. This is our crookneck squash. We got some of that growing, but look what I found this morning. I don't know if you guys can see it. The infamous cinch bugs right there, guys. Those are the baby cinch bugs. I don't know, they're leaf-footed something. They eat your fruit. So I'm going to make me a concoction of Dawn dish detergent and some water. I'm not putting any oil or nothing out. I'm just going to use Dawn dish detergent and water. Spray it on those things. It'll kill them instantly. It really works. I think it's 1.5 tablespoons or a tablespoon per gallon of water of Dawn dish detergent. Mix it together, spray it on the bugs. I spray it at night because I don't want to spray it out here on the day and then it burns up the plant. So I try to spray it at night. I do that in the evening. This here, people asked what were the poles here in the ground. So this is the first bed that I built in the ground. And I put corn, green peppers, hot burrito peppers, snacking peppers, bush beans. There's a watermelon right there. And then this tomato here, which is really awesome. It broke off of the Million Vine tomato. There's a tip of it. It broke. I didn't want it to die, so I clipped off all the flowers, shoved it in the ground, and the thing is flowering and it's getting ready to flower. See? And grow in the ground. This is the Carolina Reaper. There's 2 of them growing. I planted that from seed. We have carrots growing there. We have all kinds of stuff. So the purpose for this particular bed, I wanted to see what can actually grow in the ground in the backyard. So everything I planted in this bed, I decided to build more beds and then put all my nightshades in one group of beds, putting all my grasses, because, you know, corn is a type of grass. Put all my grasses in there. And then I'm going to put my collard greens and stuff out there. I just got to figure out how I want to do that, because I need to get some airflow between these plants. I think that's why these powdery white mildew is happening. There's not enough airflow going. Everything was fine, but here in the last couple of days with the rain and no sunshine and stuff, it's just when the powdery white mildew started showing up. When I have to fix that. But everything seems to be growing just as well, though. It's not dying. It's just it's just irritating. There's my mammoth jalapeno. There's the larger Carolina Reaper that I planted. This one here is up to my hip there. That's our water containment system that we're going to be doing here. I haven't got a chance to really come out here and finish it, because we have one here and we have one there. So I catch the rainwater off the drain. It's filtered out. I put it in here. I let it sit in the bucket there 4 or 5 days in the sun, you know, add some nutrients to the water. And then I have a spigot that runs off of there, and it goes into my line. But before that, I'll filter the water out through a filtering system, because I don't want any kind of, I'm a little OCD about stuff being clean. So yeah, so we're building more beds. Oh yeah, there's a watermelon growing. I don't know how far that's going to grow. I think the watermelon has some blossom end rot, or I think that this particular area where the watermelon is growing, I don't know what's going on, but I think it has something to do with how I built that bed, why that watermelon and the corn kind of did their thing like that. But I'll deal with that later. But okay, so back to the poles in the ground. The poles in the ground are for frogs. I don't like frogs. They were everywhere. They were getting everywhere. And so in order to give the frogs a place to stay, the tree frogs, because I noticed that they were eating the worms and stuff off the plants and eating insects, I put these poles in the ground and they hide in there. You can't see nothing in that one. Oh, you can't see it on the camera, but there's one in there. It's way down there too. I have to come out here at night and film it, but they all crawl out of these poles and hop around the garden, eat insects. I have baby lizards. I have assassin bugs. This is our herb box. This is the very first set of raised garden beds that we did. This was given to us by a friend of ours at our church. And I've gotten some really good use out of it, I'm telling you. This has been just the first one we did, first raised garden. Because I had started everything in bags. And I don't know if you guys, you can go back and watch the other videos, the earlier videos, but I started everything in bags. And then from there, I was curious as to see how it will grow in raised garden beds. And then it just went from this one. We did a whole video of how we use wood chips in these beds. So these beds here, we went to the local chipping service here in Northwest Florida and got some wood chips, and they were old wood chips. We hand sifted it using that sifter right there. We threw the wood chips against that, sifted out all the dirt, and put the dirt inside of the box. And then I put the Kellogg's in this box, and it took a while for this box to take off. So I think it's because the wood chips were still breaking down. Any leftover wood chips I just threw on the ground right there to, you know, give me a work area so I can do my wood and my compost pile there, which has a stalk of corn growing out of that. I can't believe that. I'm not eating that though, because that's my compost pile. And we have our purple coneflowers for echinacea tea, this huge basil plant, and we have another purple coneflower. So here's the story with the purple coneflowers. This one here is over a year old, and I turned this bed, pulled out the old one, turned the bed over, and this thing grew up. But before that grew, I bought another one from Home Depot and planted that, and it started doing real well in this box. And all of a sudden, this popped up. So now I have two two purple cones, two sets of them now. The basil is spreading. Lemongrass, that stuff, I love that stuff. That's growing really good in this box. But look at the Greek oregano. So this is our herb box. This is where we grow all our herbs now. And we have our Bing tomatoes. You see, I don't know if you guys remember the Bing tomato plant that I had last year that was destroyed around this time of the year in the tropical storm that we had in June of last year, how it broke and then it came back. Well, this one did the same thing. The rain came, hit it, it started dying. It didn't like the rain, but now it's coming back. So I'm going to let that be because it always comes back. It just comes back on its own. The Greek oregano, my God, I can't eat enough of this to keep up at how fast it grows. So I'm just going to let it grow as a ground cover. And if I ever need some Greek oregano, or if anybody needs Greek oregano, hit me up. I'll send you some of this. It's really good. It's really strong too. This is the only collard green plant. It's the Moor's Head cabbage collards or something like that. It's a collard green that heads like cabbage. We bought that from Home Depot. Bonnie plant. It didn't even grow, but I didn't want to pull it out the box. And then here in the last couple of months, it has exploded. As you can see, it got hit really hard with the cabbage lopers and stuff. So I took some BT Thurside. As you can see where it started really bad. Then as you can go up to the newer leaves, you can see it starts to get, the eating starts to get real light because I hit it with BT Thurside. Kills the worms, but doesn't kill anything else. Just the worms. Any worm that eats the leaves, BT Thurside is the best thing for that. Controls that really good. You got to hit it 3 or 4 days in a row, but it really works. It's organic. It's all good. So this is an all organic garden. We don't use pesticides. We use, and we don't use a lot of fertilizers because we have natural and organic compost. But we do use blood meal and bone meal, nitrogen, and phosphates, I think it is. I think that's what it is. A lot of nitrogen, a lot of phosphates, because the type of plants we have, some require a lot of nitrogen, some don't want nitrogen, some require a lot of stuff for the roots. So one's for the roots and one's for the fruit. This is our other plant right here. This little guy right here, we bought this back in March, April. And it's only been 2 or 3 months, but I'm going to step down here next to it so everybody can get this is right now eye level, and I still have to go up. I got to pick it. Pick where I pick my tomatoes from. I reach up to pick tomatoes. I had to stack 2 cages end on end because I wasn't prepared for the vine that was coming off of this thing. And look at this one. I just bent one of the cage things over and suspended it with a wire, and it's doing pretty good. It's producing fruit. That's all that matters. Now, this is the purple Cherokee tomato. It's growing. It's doing good. It's flowering. The heat has messed it up a lot. It will bloom. The flowers will come up, and because of the heat, it will drop the flowers. So it's not a heat tolerant thing. So I did this box here up underneath our heritage oak that we have back here. So I figured it would have been enough shade to grow these here, but apparently the heat itself, it was 114, which that was crazy that day, and all the flowers dropped off of these things. But now they seem to be growing back. What is that? It's like an injury or something there on that plant. It healed back up. But if you notice, these weren't supposed to survive. These were planted by seeds. The purple Cherokee tomatoes. I planted these by seeds. And I didn't think they were going to survive. But then all of a sudden, here in the last 30 days, it just, the heat and everything just exploded the Cherokee tomatoes. So they're growing good now. These are some old crops. So this is from the bed right here. If you guys remember, this is the first in-ground bed that I did. And I did it Yankee style. I put the felt over it because I did it August of last year. I built this bed, I believe it was. And it's time to clean it out now. I'm going to keep our garlic green tree because it's literally a tree that's up to my chest. We got some lemongrass I want to let grow along the border of the bed, but we're going to keep the Ichiban. I'm going to plant some carrots, and then I'm going to work the soil here, and I'm going to wait until it cools off because I might want to plant the collard greens in this bed. I don't know yet. I have to figure it out. I have to go back and look at my layouts of how I had everything laid out last year and look at the notes of what did good at what area of the yard. But I think the collard greens did good in this area of the yard. We got a lot of harvest off of that, off the collard greens there. So yeah, this is just an update. I'm sorry it's taking up all your time, but there's a lot going on back here, and I got a lot to do. And the rain's not going to let up. It's breaking, and then you look over here to the south, and it's like boom, boom, the clouds. But yeah, it's just an update. Oh yeah, the pole beans. These things are growing fast. I have no idea how far they're going to grow, but I might have to run a line from the top of this down to the other side over there if it keeps growing like that. Every time it rains, it grows. It's like Jack and the Beanstalk. Yeah, I think I got everything. This is our Silver Queen corn. We bought the seeds, you know from where? Home Depot. See them come around here, and I put a watermelon here in the ground. This is I can't remember what kind of watermelon it is, so I'm kind of excited, but I know it's either one of I think it's one of the bigger ones, the Florida, big watermelons. What I was going to say about the corn was, as you can see, the same thing with the corn. Early on, the cabbage lopers started hitting it really hard. I hit it with the BT Thurside, and as you can see where they started, and now they're not even touching the corn. I might have to hit it again because it rained. And make sure all these things, I'll have to come out here and weed it too. But yeah, corn's doing really good. I think it's like 25 stalks in there. 25 stalks of corn. Silver Queen. So I'm a little excited about that. Actually, I'm a lot excited about that. So this is our backyard garden. It's getting bigger. There's a lot going on back here, but man, I'm loving it. I'm growing food. Like I said, I've only been doing this a year. We're just documenting what we do for our own personal records, but we decided to share with everybody our successes and our failures. And we've had a lot of failures, trust me. That's why a lot of things that were out here before you don't see, because they either burnt up or squirrels got to them, or armadillos. Oh my gosh, the armadillos. We have armadillos now. I don't know. So earlier when I did this whole journey, we had a problem with like one of the most vicious rats I've ever seen. It was a black one. It was the hugest rat I've ever seen. Long story short, I dispatched it. And we have a bonfire every year. So yes, information. We have a bonfire every year at the time that I burned that rat in the barrel. So we have a bonfire to celebrate the death of the rat that was completely destroying my garden last year. And now we got armadillos, which they're not tearing up the garden and they're not eating any fruit. They're rooting. First I thought it was a boar because the way they root in the garden. And they dig up grubs, and they eat grubs and stuff. So all the garden and everything is all rooted up. But they're not in the actual beds. So the raised beds are doing good. They're not even coming up that close. But I'm going to see if I can trap them. But everything looks really good out here. It's getting bigger. It's probably going to be a little bit bigger before I'm done. I want to take everything from this part of the patio right here and run the beds all the way down the length of the patio and maybe out that way a little bit. So that way we'll have the nightshades, our grasses, we'll have all of our peppers, then we'll have all of our flowers, purple cone flower. I really like those black-eyed, these are called black-eyed Susans. Can you see how pretty that is? So these are supposed to be drawing the pollinators. So we got black-eyed Susans, and we have the butterfly weed, and we have the Mexican petunia, which is a very interesting flower. But yeah, we have some new flowers we're going to put in. This is just an update of everything that's going on back here. I got to clean up the backyard, get rid of some trash, straighten some things up, because we're getting ready to have another cookout here next month sometime. But yeah, everything's still growing, man. Look at that peach tree. That thing's just getting taller and taller. I'm going to clean that up. This is our specialty box. I'm going to have to plant some other stuff in there. I'm leaving this kale tree in here. But yeah, rhubarb. Well, I've took up enough of your time. Thanks for watching me. Be sure to like us, subscribe, and like us on the bottom. It's getting ready to get a little busy out here, so I'm going to be posting a lot more videos. And if you haven't planted something in the ground, please plant something, a flower, some food, something, and wherever you are, put some roots down. Literally, put some roots down. It makes a big difference on how you look at your property and how you feel about your property. And then when you start growing things and starting to see the fruit, then you really want to get into it. But yeah, put some roots down, plant something. You guys be blessed.